Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casmon, and I would love to thank you for joining us for another great episode. If you are getting some great value out of this show, it's helping you with your investing goals. Make sure you let us know about it. Here, leave us a rating and review. Some honest feedback always helps us. And make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Now, we've got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Vanessa Alfaro. If you are ready to scale your real estate portfolio, I have one word for you: leverage. That's right. Today I speak with Vanessa Alfaro, and she shares how to use leverage to scale any business, not just real estate. And specifically, we get into how to tap into AI technology way beyond ChatGPT. As a matter of fact, she used AI before our conversation to learn everything she needed to know about me going into our interview. If you're ready to scale and you need help with leverage, this is a show you can't miss. Check out this episode of Multifamily Insights. Let's welcome to the show, Vanessa Alfaro.
Hi, John. I'm so happy to be here. So blessed. And thank you so much for having me in your great podcast.
Absolutely. It's great to have you on the show today. Hey, I went over your bio at a very, very high level. Why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of those gaps?
Well, I has been entrepreneur since I was 12. Okay. It has been part of my DNA forever. All my family, my mom actually used to say that I was born in the wrong family. Like it's a blue collar, very humble family. Everybody has a job, like a regular job. And I was trying to do things different and trying to sell those at school and do things and always making business and having big dreams. So I think I just followed that path. And when I was 22, I opened my first company, which was a marketing company, okay, actually. And I had that until I was 27. And then I opened the second and the third. And it has been a very exciting journey. As an entrepreneur, I don't regret any of my years of entrepreneurship. Okay. So it has been great, and I has been very lucky and blessed to have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur for this long, right? And Venus Capital is my, I believe, fifth or sixth company. Okay. I do have another company with my husband. It's a production company that is just focused about cars. So he loves cars and he is in charge of that company. And I do have my other company that is focused on teaching entrepreneurs and real estate investors how to utilize AI and technology to actually scale their businesses. So I do have 5 kids that I love and adore, okay, a husband, and I feel blessed and happy. I wouldn't say that my life is perfect, not at all. Please don't take it like that. It's not even close. I just dropped my kids in pajamas to school this morning. So I'm not always looking like this. But I'm happy and I'm blessed. And I think that waking up every day with a grateful heart is important.
I love it. Vanessa, you talked about your background, just having that entrepreneur spirit as a kid, being 12 years old and your family telling you, hey, you're a little different than the rest of us, right? We kind of like just going out there having the quote unquote security of a regular job. And you were out there saying, it's not for me. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to create my own rules. Fast forward, you've created multiple businesses. You talked about, married, you got your husband, 5 kids, multiple businesses. My first question is, how do you manage all that, right? Like, we know the life of an entrepreneur can always be taxing, but you got a lot going on at the family life and all the businesses as well. And technology is always ever changing. So how do you manage all of these things as a busy working professional?
Yeah. I think that when I was 20, someone told me, and I was 22 and I was starting my company. And someone told me, you have to hire someone to help you at home. I think that was the best advice that I had because I was 22. I was a single mom, recently divorced. I had my daughter was 2 years old, okay, and I was starting this business that I was just 6 months into the business with no money, okay, and just my car and an apartment that I could barely pay, okay, at that moment. And she told me that, and I was like, how I'm going to pay her. Okay? But I actually did it. And I believe that my favorite word today is actually leverage. It's all about leverage for me. And I explain this to my kids, and they understand it in a different way. If you ask them, they will say, my mommy gets a lot of help. That's leverage. That's leverage. I leverage in everything that I can. I leverage with people. I leverage with my employees. I leverage with my team. I leverage with technology. I leverage with AI. I mean, with AI was open to everybody 2 years ago. And I'm just going to mark ChatGPT. It was like, oh my God, this is going to be so amazing for all the entrepreneurs, because it's just leverage on leverage. Your team is leveraging now on AI. Your properties can leverage now, reducing expenses. It's just amazing. I teach my kids how to use AI safely. I teach my housekeeper how to use AI, so she doesn't have to ask me questions about what she has to cook for the rest of the week, things like that. So how do I do it? I think like I learned that lesson from someone which I appreciate. Leverage. That's my favorite word until today.
Leverage. I love it. It's so spot on too, right? Because you only have so many hours in a day, especially when it's just you. And it's so hard for people to really understand that. And I love your story, because you mentioned you were 22, single mom, recently divorced, struggling financially, and someone told you you need help at home. And you're like, how am I going to pay for this help? I mean, yeah, that sounds great in theory, but how do I pay for it? Well, you fast forward today, and the good thing is technology has evolved so much that a lot of the things that you could use for help come from a technological standpoint with AI and other tools. So it's easier. Not to mention, you have virtual assistants now as well that you could tap into. So for a lot of those busy professionals, if you're struggling with time management, productivity, you've got these big dreams, but maybe you're having a hard time getting traction. Think about leverage. What can you leverage? Who can you leverage? What technology can you leverage? Really try to find ways to be more resourceful, because that's going to open up doors. I want to come back to technology and AI, but I want to first talk about kind of your journey as a real estate entrepreneur, specifically getting into multifamily. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of your portfolio, what kind of assets you like to invest in?
Yes, we own a little bit more than 1,400 units right now. We started in 2019, and we're full cycle in some of the deals already. Okay. Um, and we have been buying value add most of the time. We focus on cash flowing opportunities. Since the beginning, we focus on secondary and tertiary markets, which it wasn't a thing until 2 years ago. Like for the biggest operators, you always saw the biggest operators going to primary cities, okay? Austin, Dallas, all these big cities, Phoenix. Okay. Now you see also the biggest operators going to secondary and tertiary markets. They realize that's really where the value add is, because the population is moving to that places. And after COVID, especially, okay, after COVID, when now you see so many people renting in places that are not the primary markets, because they don't need to travel to work, or they travel only 2 days a week. Okay, so secondary and tertiary markets are becoming stronger, stronger, stronger into the Generation C. So that's still our focus. Okay? We're still looking into value add, cash flowing deals. The cash for us is very important, that the deal cash flowing. We're a private equity firm, so we're looking for cash flow deals. We do have a preferred equity fund as well, when we invest in high cash flow deals. At the end, John, and some operators may not agree with me, but at the end, the equity is something that is just on paper when you buy, right? So you change 2 or 3 numbers on your Excel document, and it looks great. Okay. But what you're buying is the cash flow that that property is generating. And then the market will dictate if you sell at the right time, the market will dictate if you're going to have less or more equity into that deal. So we're very conservative with our exit strategy in the equity. Mm-hmm. But we are very focused on the cash that the deal is producing. So we'll never buy negative leverage deals or things like that. So this is our strategy as a company. But again, if you're an investor and you're listening to me, there are some other operators that have different strategies now. And when I talk to investors, I always talk about diversification too. It doesn't mean that what I do is the right fit for everybody. Some other people may think like I'd rather to have lower cash flow and wait 5, 7 to 10 years and go into market like Phoenix. That's right. Okay. That's correct. It's not probably if you are thinking like that, you are not my investor, right? So you can come with me if you are looking for that cash flow that you want every 3 months, and you're willing to wait until we sell at the right time to get your equity part, that will be that. But I think that diversification is important, John, for everybody. I don't I don't believe that you have to put all your eggs in the same basket, you know? Like even if you're investing in the stock market, okay, you diversify inside the stock market, you diversify inside real estate. So I'm very proud of diversification with all my investors. If they have $1 million, I always would suggest just diversify your money.
Yeah, Vanessa, you gave some really great insights on your investing strategy, and I agree with a lot of them. And it's very similar to the way we approach it. First and foremost, I want to say you talked about diversification. Everyone's strategy is not going to be right for you. It's okay. Like the thing I love about real estate investing is there's so many strategies. You really just have to find a strategy that fits you, fits your risk tolerance, your
Right.
financial situation, your goals, your aspirations. Find a strategy that fits you. I promise there's a real estate strategy that fits, right? But you've got to figure out what that is. If it's in multifamily investing and investing in syndication deals, well, now it comes down to understanding the deal structure and how those returns are going to be projected to you. And what you hit on was you like cash flow. And I'm the same way. I like cash flow. And the reason is it's tangible and you can have more control over the cash flow. The equity exit, and you said it perfectly, equity is just on paper. And it's not to dismiss it, but you can't pay bills with equity, right? If you have a low cash flow month, you can't say, oh, let me just pull some of this equity and do that. Like there's a whole process that you would have to go through. So that cash flow is what allows you to keep the deal until it makes sense for you to sell it or to refinance or do something. And so many people have forgotten that or overlooked that over the last few years. And now we're seeing more and more groups that are having these kind of challenges. But cash flow keeps you out of those situations. On top of that, you talked about value add strategy in secondary markets. So again, you're not trying to compete with everybody that's out there. You're trying to go a little under the radar for maybe those big, huge equity groups. And you're really looking for some value where the trends are telling you, hey, people are moving here. They want a better product. If you increase the value of this product, it will be there. So we invest in the Midwest, and what we've seen is very similar because where we're seeing these challenges in a marketplace is typically in markets that have been overdeveloped with new supply because developers read the same numbers, right? It's all Phoenix looks great. They rush out to Phoenix, they build all these new apartments. Well, now it's harder to do value add because I can go down the street and there's a brand new apartment that's the same rent. In Louisville, Kentucky, in Florence, Kentucky, Cincinnati, you're not going to have that same kind of competition because developers aren't really developing as much in these markets, right? So that's the thing I love about the strategy and what you laid out. They're just really great insights. And again, Vanessa, I just think it's a smart way to think of it. But even as you're saying it, even as I'm saying it, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the strategy of focusing more on equity and upside. It's
Yep.
just a different approach. That's all it is.
100%. And I love the Midwest. By the way, we are looking harder and harder to buy more in the Midwest. I think it's a market that is not a shiny market for everybody. it hasn't been a shiny market for the last 2 to 3 years. Everybody wanted to invest in the Sun Belt and buying in these hot markets, Arizona, Texas, all this Florida. And the Midwest, it has stability, something that I like. Okay. So the Midwest, you're not going to see something like Austin. What happened to Austin? That the rents went up 30, 40, 50% in a few years. Okay. Now they're dropping and they're negative. There is negative rent growth, right? You don't see that in the Midwest, but you see stability. And I love that in the Midwest. So I love your strategy too, because we're actually trying to go more into those areas.
Yeah, and Vanessa, I love it too because as investors, the thing that's important is to develop your own investing thesis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very easy to listen to someone and get caught up in their approach and go down the path. But again, if it doesn't fit your own investing thesis, your goals, your risk tolerance, you could wind up down a path that you really didn't intend to be on. So go back and just really set up your goals. What are you looking to achieve? What are your goals with investing? And then find that strategy that's going to help you get there. Obviously, Vanessa and I kind of like this value add secondary kind of market, approach that focuses more on cash flow. We think that's I don't want to use the word safer, but there's less risk or lower risk in that approach than focusing on deals that focus
Well,
primarily on the equity upside.
We're BS in that strategy. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you talk about, actually, I was listening one of your podcasts, and you talk about when doing capital raising, okay, you talk about credibility and confidence, and I believe your network, right?
Yeah.
And every time I talked about capital raising to people, and I love that because I 100% that doing capital raising depend of how confident you are, okay, when you're doing a deal. Okay? I also talk about knowing your client, okay, knowing your client and knowing their objections, okay, and when you know the people that you're meeting with, when you know these potential investors, you understand if that's the right investor for you. Okay? So those investors that they are investing in properties in the primary market, they love in a primary market to get a 2%, 3% cash on cash, and then wait probably 5 years for getting their equity. Okay. That's probably not my investor, right? At least they listen to Ray Dalio and they diversify their money.
There you go.
When I do this current strategy, Ray Dalio always talk about this, right? You need to diversify in 10 to 12 different categories, okay, in order to decrease your risk. Okay? So I love that about Ray Dalio. So I think knowing your investor is important. Okay, knowing the people that you're going to meet with and understanding their objections, because probably that's not the right client, that's not the right investor for your deal.
Yeah, I love that. Right. The more you understand who you're talking to, what their goals and strategies are, now you can identify whether or not your investing strategy is going to be a fit for them. And if it's not, it's okay. And for some people, once they're clear on what you do and how you do it, to your point on diversification, they may want to put some money in your deals and maybe put some money in deals that do focus more on the equity upside. So you just want to make sure you're clarifying that. And I love that approach there. Vanessa, I want to go back to this AI, right? Because you talked about being able to scale in that word leverage, which I love. Leveraging people, leveraging teams, leveraging technology. And you've been able to do this a lot in the AI space. First of all, let me say this. If you're interested in learning more about Vanessa's approach to multifamily investing, you can check out her and her team at venuspartners.com. We'll link to that in the show notes. But she also has built out this real estate AI challenge, which you can go and learn more about at reaichallenge.com. But tell us a little bit more about this space.
Well, people say, and that's true, that there is no really experts on AI, right? Because AI is changing so fast. Okay? But what actually makes you an expert in something is something that you are actually learning and using all the time. That's how did Michael Jordan become the best basketball player? Is because he was practicing every day. That's how I became the best one. So in our company, we focus on technology. Everybody that works for us, first of all, okay, if we're hiring new people, we are very deep understanding first if that person is a great fit in our company, where their values, but also how that person is leveraging into AI and technology, right? AI is right now as you're using your computer. If you're working remotely and you don't know how to use a computer, okay, you're not going to be hired anywhere, right? So an AI is going to go to that pretty soon. So we focus on that, number one. And for the people that was already working with us, we just has been learning and implementing AI in every part of our system. So when ChatGPT came out, like AI has been here forever, right? So Alexa use AI, your phone use AI, and Netflix use AI. That's how you're thinking about watching a movie, and all of a sudden you turn on Netflix and it's right there. So AI has been here for many years, but it has been here just for the biggest corporation. And what ChatGPT and OpenAI did is like they created a large language model that is available for everybody and open up so many other entrepreneurs and so many other ventures to connect to their API and create other AIs from out of there. So it has made this available for the regular humans like us that are not Jeff Bezos and the owner of Amazon. Okay. And what that makes is an open up a door. It's an open door for us to scale and leverage with technology faster than ever before. Mhm. And since we has been doing that for more than 2 years already, okay, so we has been implementing AIs in everything that we use, not only in marketing, because marketing is the low-hanging fruit for AI, but we do it for acquisitions. We do it for finding deals. We do it for analyzing the markets. We do it for capital raising. Okay, one of the quick examples that I can give you is when I talk about knowing your client. Okay, we have an AI that is going to tell us who is that person, like what is the level of risk of that person. Is public information. It comes from many thousands of data points about public information of this person, including the LinkedIn profile. But we use that 2 pages to understand what is the level of risk of that investor that we're meeting. Okay, so we use that, like when I have a podcast, I use that. My assistant gives me that 2 pages about everybody that I'm meeting. It's like a quick summary to understand how is that going to be that conversation. So we use AI for capital raising, for acquisitions, for managing our deals. It's very important. I'm going to say something about here. I'm going to stop. Okay. If you are a passive investor, or if you're an operator, okay, or if you're a passive investor, you need to understand how advanced in technology is the company that you're investing with. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Because right now there's so many properties from mom and pop properties that you can buy, that if you take those properties and you leverage with technology, okay, those properties could be cash flowing like 10 times or what is cash flowing right now. Because AI inside managing or developing your business plan and managing your deal can actually help you to save money in payroll, money in marketing, money in contract services, money in maintenance requests. Okay, so there's so many AIs that we use to optimize that we has been able to cut expenses 15 to 20%. So if you're an operator and you are not using these technologies, then you're leaving money on the table, 100%. Now, if you're an investor and you don't understand why it's important that the operator is leveraging technology, then you know that they are leaving money on the table. And that's your money as an investor. So I can say that if I am using technology, I'm making more money for an investor than an operator that is not. Okay. So I think that that's what is important about AI for investors and operators. It's not about the boss of AI. It's not about ChatGPT. Okay. It's about how you leverage these technologies in your time, in your team's time, in your properties, in understanding better what you do. Okay. So you can make more money. You can increase your NOI. You can do more in the time that you have. I think I think it's incredible. Okay? It's incredible. I could talk about this for 3 hours. So that's
Vanessa,
why, thank you for inviting people to the AI challenge.
yeah.
That's what I do for those 5 days. I tell them a little bit of everything that we do. Each day we cover one area of the business, and one of the day we cover productivity, which is really cool for entrepreneurs, because one of the things and one of the issues that we have is that when we start our business, we're usually solopreneurs, and it's just us, me, doing everything. Okay. And if you cannot afford to have a virtual assistant, okay, you have to leverage with AI. And there's so many AIs that you could be leveraged so many things. Like, you let me know if you want some examples and I will throw some.
I
Um,
do. I do. I was going to ask you that because I think, one, first of all, and we didn't get to talk about this, but the thing I love about our conversation, Vanessa, is you have such a unique perspective. First of all, we're talking about the real estate space, commercial multifamily investing in particular. Your background, being a female, coming from a multicultural background, the way you embrace technology. These are three things we don't see very often, right? We know real estate is probably one of the slowest to change industries that exist. And you're able to come in with a different perspective and leverage all of these different things. For many of our listeners, I imagine when they hear AI, they are thinking about, again, maybe the Netflix bot that's, in the Amazon, which is predicting, hey, you bought this, you might like this, or you might like this show next. But they're probably thinking about Chat GPT, right? That's what we hear a lot, Chat GPT going in there and, hey, rephrase this sentence for me or whatever, right? But you're talking about artificial intelligence at a different level where it can help us with capital raising, marketing deals, helping us with managing deals. Are these different IA platforms or software? Can you just give us a little more context on the different ones that are out there that you're using?
Yes, both. Okay. What we use is, we use large language models. We use ChatGPT. We use sometimes Perplexity and Claude, okay, to do certain things. Okay. When you're starting learning about AI, you just have a conversation probably with ChatGPT, back and forth, rephrase this, give me this. You say like a search engine. Okay. That's like the basic level of AI. Okay. And people just don't know what they don't know. So if you have never seen the capabilities of artificial intelligence, okay, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't even know what to ask. You don't even know what the capabilities are, right? So one of the things that we do during those 5-day challenge is that we show them some of the capabilities, and really your mind just open to a different universe. I love that as an entrepreneur. I love to do that and help other people to see those capabilities. Now, the second level would be creating your own chatbots that you can do through an APIs or training the model, things like that. And that's a little bit more advanced, but we also do that. So we have our own chatbots that we create for certain goals. Like, we have a chatbot for lead magnets. Okay. So the chatbot can have conversation. Another chatbot can be used for leasing your properties. This is very common right now, but it's actually pretty new. When you have a chatbot actually taking the phone calls of a potential tenant, okay, and actually scheduling the whole appointment, is just that chatbot remove 50% of the job of a human. that was actually doing that. And it's doing that better, more efficient, okay, than the human itself. Okay, just right there, you have 50% cut for something that is going to cost you probably $150, $200 a month. So that's the other level when you create your own chatbots or when you use other chatbots. Okay. And then the third level is when you start stacking other AIs into that. Okay. So, for example, we have the AI that I told you that is a predictive personality that is going to tell me, okay, who is this person? How is this person? Do I have to let them talk? Do I have to talk? Does this person want to take the lead? Is usually based on what is called the DISC, the DISC report, if you are familiar with personality assessment, and it's going to tell you an idea of the personality of that person. What is cool about that is also telling me how that match with my personality. So how excited I have to be or how down I have to be with this person. Okay. It's just about being empathetic. It's not about changing your personality, but it's also to understanding what is the level of empathetic that you want to have with that person. So we have an AI that can do that. We have an AI that is helping us with our pitch deck. Okay. And we can go as simple as having the AI understanding our conversation and telling us as a coach how to make this conversation better with my next investor or my webinar. So the possibilities are huge. Okay. And what we do is everything that we use, there are some AIs that are very expensive, okay, that can go to $25,000 a year. Mm-hmm. There are some others that are very cheap, like ChatGPT is $20, and most of these AIs go $15, $20, $30, which is a joke for the value that you can get, okay? That is probably 50% of an employee, right? So I have done the work for you for all this time. My company keep doing the work for you. So we go and say, okay, this is what we do. And this is what it works. You don't have to go try and error for a year or 6 months or going into YouTube. Like I can easily tell you, and I don't know everything, okay, but we breathe technology every day in order to optimize our deals and our properties and our processes, okay? So am I an expert? Probably not. Okay. But I feel I am an expert because we do it every day. Okay. So I am probably 10 steps ahead everybody else in the industry. And you were so right. This industry is so slow. Oh my gosh. That if you are the one taking the step to be faster, you're the one that is going to win. You're the one that's going to win. And I'm going to close this, John, with a phrase that I love. It is success, love, speed. Whoever is the faster in implementing this, in bringing this, is going to win.
Success loves speed. Vanessa, I love it. You get some great information, and I would encourage our listeners to check out the real estate AI challenge you have, reaichallenge.com. Learn more. The thing that really jumped out to me is just like you said, there's different AI platforms that exist. You've already taken the time to kind of play with a lot of them, figure out what works, what doesn't work. How do you make this work? What prompts do you use? And I think that's so important just to, not just jump in here and waste 3 to 6 months trying to figure it out. Take the challenge. The challenge is a great opportunity to learn more about this space. And as you said, if you can move faster than most others, you're going to be able to get those results. And it comes back to what we talked about, leverage, right? If you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, you have to learn to use leverage. This is another tool in the tool belt that you can utilize for your own investing goals. Listen again, check that out, reaichallenge.com. And if you want to invest with Vanessa, you can go to venuspartners.com. Right now, we're going to transition and go to our round of insights. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to grow as a multifamily investor, you have to spend more time with other multifamily investors. And an easy way to do that is to join our apartment investing mastermind group today. Just go to casmoncapital.com and click on the mastermind button. Now, as a part of this group, you'll get access to expert trainings, group coaching calls, industry news and updates, as well as all of our webinars and workshops, including our 3-hour workshop on raising capital. Again, if you want to be around other multifamily investors that can help you scale your portfolio today and grow your network, make sure you're a part of the Apartment Investing Mastermind. Just go to casmoncapital.com and click on the mastermind button today. All right, give me a failure or an apparent failure that sets you up for later success.
Oh, wow. That's a very good question, because I don't take anything as a failure, because it's always bringing me something else. I think one of the deals that I did with a partner, and inside the group, the property management was part of this group, okay? And we had so many challenges with them because they were not doing the job that they're supposed to do. And that was a big lesson for me to ever has a property management inside of the management team, because we couldn't fire them, right? So it was a big challenge and brought me a lot of lessons. So I'm grateful for that. And it was a big lesson for me.
I appreciate you sharing that. We talked a lot about AI, but give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
You mean an AI tool?
It could be an AI tool or just anything else that you use for managing your teams or your business in general.
Okay, I'm going to give one that I love that is going to work for anybody. So if you're listening and you are a passive investor, or you are just an entrepreneur, or you are an operator, I think this one is going to move the needle. It's small, but it's so helpful. Okay. And it's an AI executive assistant. Okay. So have you ever, if you don't have a virtual assistant or you don't have an assistant, remember those days, John, when you started and you woke up with 100 emails in your inbox, okay? And how much time it takes you to go into those emails and respond those emails. Sometimes entrepreneurs mistaking their job for just responding emails because they feel like that creates anxiety for them, right? And I'm one of the advocates that we shouldn't be, as a leader of our company, we shouldn't be touching even our emails. I mean, imagine, do you believe that Tony Robbins is checking their inbox? He's not. But if we are a solopreneur, you have to do it. So there is this great AI, it's called Fixer.com, okay? And I'm going to spell that for you, okay? It's FYXER AI.com, okay? It's called AI, but it's actually Fixer.com. And what it does is that when you connect it to your email, okay, it's going to automatically classify your emails into labels, okay? But it takes it to a different level. It's going to learn how you have been responding to people for 2 weeks. And it's going to create all the drafts of all the responses that you need, okay? So when you wake up in the morning, if you have 100 emails, the AI is already trained to draft a response for you, that the only thing that you have to do is going to those drafts and just send, okay? Or change it if you think that is not the appropriate response. I have been doing, this is pretty new for me, because before this, we had to do an API and do this manually with ChatGPT. So the email would be connected with ChatGPT and go back, but this is just $30, okay? And it takes probably 2 or 3 hours out of your plate, and it's responding for you. And if you also have a note taker, that if you have it in your meetings, immediately you finish the meeting, it's going to make a summary and it's going to make a follow-up. So if I say to you, John, hey, thank you for the meeting. And as a follow-up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the link of my website. So then the AI is going to do it. It's going to put on the draft. Okay. Thank you, John, for the meeting. Here is the link for my website. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. If someone is asking me for a meeting, okay, it's going to suggest the days immediately. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, it's a game changing to take over your admin that it shouldn't be doing. And even if you have an assistant, I have an executive assistant. Okay. So my executive assistant is actually using this as well in my inbox, because I don't want my executive assistant spending 3 hours trying to figure it out what to say to someone that she was not even in the meeting.
Yeah.
Right. So she's saving 30 minutes and she's saving 3 hours so she can do something else for me. So I think that's great.
I love it. Fixer it is. We'll make sure we link to that in the show notes as well. All right. Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I met Dan. I think it's a very basic Bible for every entrepreneur. It looks pretty basic, but sometimes we get overcomplicated. We get into the weeds and the things that we have to do. And something like as basic as analyze what you're doing the next 2 weeks and to see where your time is going and automate that with AI. It sounds simple, but it's a game changer that can move your business, move the needle in your business, okay, after you do that for 2 weeks. So I love that book. I recommend it to everybody.
Sounds like a great book there. All right, give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
Okay, well, having 5 kids, demanding husband, and 2 businesses, sometimes it's hard for me to keep a daily habit. But I think it's important to use what I call the stop and think. So when I feel like I've been running, you have to do like stop. Like you have to stop everything that you're doing and do a meditation. Okay. I definitely try to do every day, most of the day, except for the weekends, grateful meditation in the mornings. But the stop and think, taking a break, I think it's important. It does not slow you down. It's actually recharge you to do more.
Stop and think, meditation. I love that. All right. Give me your number one insight to utilize, let's say to leverage AI.
Number one insight, use it. You have to use it. 3 or 5. Like just this morning for us, we're still in the morning. I have used AI at least 4 times. My executive assistant gave me your AI personality. Okay. I went and I analyzed your podcast and it gave me some insights of what I was going to do here. And it says that you're a great host. Okay. It gave me some perspective of what you're going to do, how you manage your podcast. So I already used it 3 times before I start today. So the best insight that I can give you is just start using it. Okay, open ChatGPT, pay the $20. Okay, if you or don't pay, just use a free one. Okay, and using some of the time, it can. I literally ask sometimes what to wear to the AI, depending of the occasion. So colors change your behavior as well. Okay, so depending of the events that are going, and sometimes ask, okay, what color should I wear? So I know I'm just like an AI geek, John, and I believe it because. Have you ever think, John, that as an entrepreneur, you have to make so many decisions?
A lot of decisions, so many.
A lot of decisions, right? So I feel the same, okay? So if I don't have to make the most basic decisions and I can let that to AI, I can save my brain for the most important decisions. And that's why I love it. I don't have to overthink.
I love it. I appreciate you sharing that, Vanessa. It was just great stuff. Last question here, completely different mode. You're in Houston. Give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
Well, I'm in North Houston, so I'm in a
Okay.
suburb. Okay, uh, uh, this is my dream place to be. Okay, it's called the Woodlands, and it's like a wood. Okay? I just see trees, and I don't listen anything, and I love it. Okay? So this is for me the place that I always wanted to live. I used to live in Beverly Hills in California, and that was a complete different vibe. So I feel so blessed that we were able to move my family here, and this is so quiet and peaceful. Um, so I really appreciate this. And
Yeah,
I have to say, Houston is the NASA. You know, like I always wanted to be an astronaut. So
there you go. So, where do you like to eat though? Where's your favorite place to eat?
well, there are not many places here. Okay, there are very good places in Houston. Okay, but here is Paris. Everybody has a Paris. It's the best meat.
There you go. I appreciate you sharing that. Vanessa, I learned so much from our conversation today. A couple things that really stood out. One, the importance of leverage. Whether you're starting off as an entrepreneur, solo entrepreneur, not with, if you don't have a lot of resources, you still got to figure out a way to get leverage, right? Leverage
Mhm.
technology, virtual assistants, teammates, but figure out how to get leverage because that's going to be the thing that unlocks your ability to scale. And as you're getting leverage, also get clarity on what your goals are. What are you looking for with your investing thesis on real estate side of it? You want to make sure you understand the kind of deals you're looking for. You like to focus on cash flow. I agree with that approach as well. And then on the AI side, just recognize this is not a fad. This is not a trend. This is something that is going to take over and is taking over everything that we do. You want to learn how to control it, how to leverage it, and how to make it work for your business. You've done it multiple times already in our conversation. And I think it's just some great things for people to learn. Yes, there's Chat GPT, but there's so much more than just that. So learn more about it. You can go to reaichallenge.com to learn more. And again, go to venuspartners.com to learn more about Vanessa as well. Vanessa, you are an awesome guest. Great talking to you today. I look forward to staying in touch with you and I hope you have a great day.